How one student found their voice in the classroom. A lonely struggling insect biology major sits in the back row of his entomology class dreaming of a world where he would be more successful at life than he currently is. Scratching his head, gnawing away the skin of his knuckle, he stares blankly at the horrible image of an insect on the projector screen. This is the moment. This is where everything would soon be different. The professor pops open an inverted plastic container just far enough so all the students could peer inside while informing us that this container wasn't full of termites. We were looking at termites. His unnecessary comments of wanting to eat us alive and other phrases that would get us all worked up gets us focused for what was about to happen next. He opens up a mahogany-colored chest that looked like a treasure chest from Disney's The Little Mermaid, and inside was every species of insect neatly sorted from A to Z. I immediately ask if I could see an Argentine ant, which Professor Boxman jokingly replies, "I'll eat him. I'll eat him. I'll eat him alive, I. But ultimately gives me the go-ahead to hold it up close to the projector light so the professor may label everything listed on the side of this particular species. After much squinting and a little help from my neighbor asking if the professor labeled everything, I began to notice that the scientist responsible for drawing the Argentine ant to be what we currently see today was a disgraceful individual. What I mean by this is they drew its stinger pointing towards the left, whereas a real stinger should be pointing straight. I repeat my neighbor's observation and the professor asks me to pass the ant to whom I believe was Rashawn Smiley Cornman. We don't remember their names, just the hopeless anxiety that consumes our soul. Who did notice the oddity on the insect stinger? The professor didn't. After much complaining from Smiley because the professor wanted him to draw a diagram on the board, we finally get to see a slide of the image the professor actually wanted to teach. I'm still staring at the ant, slowly turning it backwards in my hand, thinking about my wasted life, when the professor started discussing with us about the function of pheromones. I interrupt with what I thought would be a passing comment. "Hey professor, although I'm not a biologist, I live on a farm and we occasionally find Argentine ants somewhere in our house. I've noticed that male and female ants get confused by how ant pheromones work. Curious, how much do ant pheromones play a role in their tactic?" The silence was deafening, but suddenly the professor gleamed a red smile, saying, "I like this student. Show me what you got." I burst into laughter, trying to contain the prideful feeling growing inside my heart, as if I were finally getting accepted in society after being rejected so many times. As a student, I was becoming a part of this student-teacher dynamic we all see on television. My prof both completely missed the exterior appearance of what I'm capable of doing. The first impression is all the professor paid attention to, and gave me the chance to show what I'm capable of doing without freezing up, sitting down and accepting the fact I'm doomed to live a life of suffering. Even though I only spoke for a few seconds, which I barely speak at all, my comment was delivered to encourage everybody in this classroom to step out of their comfort zone and speak enough to get their thoughts across. Comfortable students sitting in the back left will now have to think about the professor's statement instead of plunging into sleep simultaneously at the border of audio deception. This is my story. It all started with the professor asking me a question that intrigued me. "What do you know?" "Go on, professor, ask the class a question."